It's Monday, August 12th, 2019, and this is the Pro and the Con Show, and I'm your host, Michael James Ott. Welcome to the show. So try to get all of us to be better citizens, be open to opposing views, at least listen to opposing views, because we're trying to get at the truth. And unfortunately, the way the news or the information streams come at us, there's a lot of bias in it, and so how do you figure that out? So I actually have a really good example on the environment. So comparing kind of a left-leaning view of it, or presentation of it, versus a right-leaning. But before I do that, ask you this question. Do you brush your teeth? Yeah, most of you do. Why? Well, the reality is that if you don't brush your teeth today, well, the worst thing that can happen is maybe your breath is bad tomorrow or later today or whatever. But missing a day of brushing your teeth probably on the whole doesn't have too much impact on anything. But failing to brush your teeth every single day, most of us strongly believe that that's a bad thing because we won't have teeth after some decades of abusing them that way. So there's this forward-looking thing about brushing your teeth. We have faith that we need to brush our teeth to protect them so that we'll have them for use decades later. Make sense? So how about the environment? Okay, well, just a few facts about the environment. So, number one, there are solidly 7 times and rapidly approaching 8 times the number of humans on this planet than there were just 200 years ago. 8 times. Now, just imagine if there are 7 or 8 times as many people in your home living with you. So if you had 3, you'd have 21 to 24. You think the environment in your home would be considerably different? I think it would. And I think you would really feel it. Well, our planet is feeling it. And the main way, I mean, there's all kinds of things with, plastics not degrading and, there's an island of junk and stuff out in the Pacific and on and on and on. But one of the true crises at the moment is the fact that we are generating carbon dioxide at a rate that's very high relative to historical norms. And so we know that the rate today, or the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, is solidly twice what it's been historically. And we know that carbon dioxide retains heat from the sun in our atmosphere. So the fact that it's twice what it's been historically is causing the atmosphere to warm, and that's having effects around the world. Now, the articles I'm about to read you about are about the Trump administration, and they're changing how the Endangered Species Act is administered. So let's go look at that right now, okay? So the Huffington Post is known to be biased, more liberally, more leftist-leaning, if you will, and their lead story on the website really, backs this up. So they're very much concerned about the environment and endangered species, and their headline in capital letters is Trump Guts Protections for Endangered Species. So all the way on, I've got 5 different websites, and all the way on the kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, more conservative, more business oriented, is Breitbart News. And Breitbart doesn't have anything about, actually they had it and now it's gone. That's interesting. Let me see if I can find it. So they had, let me show you in this section here, the orange headlines, the small ones at the center. So kind of secondary to, in this case, they have a big thing about Mr. Epstein and his suicide. But there was, up until a couple minutes ago, oh, here it is. Okay. Trump over. So remember what the Huffington Post said, right? Trump guts Endangered Species Act, capital letters, a polar bear, looking like he's miserable there with no snow or ice around him. And now this one, Breitbart, the headline is simply, Trump overhauls endangered species protections. And so when you read these articles, and again, this is, I can't emphasize enough to you that you should read these articles, because you get the differences between how these different streams of information are giving you similar stories but different. Similar but different. So in the Breitbart story, it just says Trump overhauls endangered species protections. And it says Interior Secretary David Bernhardt and other administration officials contend that the changes improve efficiency of oversight, okay, while still protecting rare species. Democrat lawyers, of course, and Democrat representatives are saying they're opposed to this because the administration is reducing the protections for endangered species. So that's what's in this, and okay, there's at least some reasonable back and forth here between the different sides of this argument in the Breitbart article. But generally, for example, here's a sentence out of it. Democrats blasted the changes, and conservationists promised a court fight. So again, kind of rhetoric around, the opposing side being, very emotional about fighting this. And there's a thing in here. Senator John Barrasso, Wyoming Republican, who leads the Senate Environment and Public Works Committee, because this is, again, the two-party system. When one of them gets the majority, then their party takes over these committees. So, you want to drive on the right side of the street for 4 years, and then the left side for 4 years, and then the right side for 4 years, and then the left side for 4 years. This is what we're doing in politics, folks. We got to wake up and smell the coffee and get rid of these political parties. I'm sorry. We got to get rid of them. They got to go. We got to get rid of them. You and I have to get rid of these political parties. They're killing us. Okay, and of course, then they cite Senator Tom Udall, who says that the change in regulations are taking a wrecking ball, one of our oldest and most effective environmental laws. And blaming the administration for doing this and so on. So there's attorneys general that are joining conservation groups protesting the changes and saying they're going to try to fight them in court. Now, here's the thing that I find interesting. If you go into the Huffington Post article, remember we talked about the fellow that's running the agency now. Let me find his name. Where are you at? Come on. Yeah, David Bernhardt. So Interior Secretary David Bernhardt. Okay. It says here, oh, by the way, in this, there was a 3-year study done by 500 scientists working for the United Nations and that study is indicating that up to 1 million species will potentially become extinct if we don't change how we're failing, honestly, to take care of our home. We're failing to take care of the planet. So it's having a big effect. And these guys, these species, they're the parakeets in the coal mine. Okay, when they die off, it's a precursor to us dying off. We've got to be better stewards of our home here. We got to take better care of it. So it says in the Huffington Post, Interior Secretary David Bernhardt is a former gas and oil lobbyist. Okay, and then they later point out, let me see here. Bernhardt has a long history of fighting the Endangered Species Act. In 2008, as the Interior Department's top lawyer during the Bush administration, he issued a legal memo that concluded the law cannot be used to protect imperiled species from climate change and so on. And then in here, so they claim, okay, the Huffington Post claims that he has a long list of potential conflicts of interest and is one of several top interior officials being investigated for alleged violations of ethics rules dealing with former employers. So the inference here is that the head of this agency is now, and even though the agency traditionally has been environmentally protective, they've appointed someone that's just the opposite. And so going back to brushing your teeth, okay, the argument is that we can go ahead and drill for oil in our public parks and kill all these species and all this other stuff because we have to make money today. Okay, well, what in the future we're not going to have a planet. Okay, and there's no place for us to go. There is no other home for us. This is it. If you've heard musings about, oh, well, we could go to Mars or something like that, you think life on Mars is going to be better than here. And oh, by the way, everywhere that we can figure out so far that's anywhere reachable by us, we are going to get bombarded by cosmic radiation and stuff like that. There's no way our survival, we would, as a species, once we get out of the protective shell of the magnetic field and the atmosphere around the Earth, once we leave that area, what's out there will kill us. That's, the survival rate would be extremely low, and our lifetimes would be extremely short. So this is it. Okay, this house, this place, the planet Earth is our place, and now it looks like we're going to allow short-term gain. So we're going to stop brushing our teeth so we don't have to go through the effort of brushing our teeth. But what's going to happen with our teeth 2 decades from now? They're going to fall out. What's going to happen to the planet 2 decades from now? Millions of species are going to be extinct. Well, hundreds of thousands of them anyway. And we're very much going to be in danger as well. All right. Well, that's the Pro and Con show for Monday, August 12th. Thanks for watching the show. Another show tomorrow. Until then, I hope you have a great evening. I'm Michael James Ott. Bye for now.